topic I wanted to really kind of discuss with you tonight, and it's kind of, I guess it would be trendy, right? It was the
Yeah.
beer bear. So like, it's a real story, right?
Hmm.
Um, have you haven't you did go see some of the movie, or have you seen the movie yet?
I will just say that I sailed the seven seas to watch this one, and I did look up what the actual story was that it was based off of, and I'll let you. It's your show, so I'll let you do it. But
You
it's
could
pretty.
jump in anytime. Don't worry.
It's.
N-
I'll just say it's anticlimactic.
it. Let's just say they took a TV show and or almost like a short story and made a movie. Is what they really did. But it's the person behind it all and how it started is pretty fascinating. I wonder if there's some people in the chat that've seen the movie. This will, if you have, great. If maybe you can chime in on some of the things that we're going to talk about. But basically, yeah, it's in the theaters. It's called Cocaine Bear. And Elizabeth Banks and Carrie Russell are. It's directed by Elizabeth Banks. But it's about a bear that basically eats cocaine and goes on a full rampage and murders a bunch of people in a small Georgia town, and kind of like Snakes on the Plane, but maybe not real believable. But it is a true story, and the picture that you see there on the left is the real bear. It's I think they call him like Pablo Escobar or something like that, which I thought was pretty funny. So that's the real stuffed bear there. But they definitely went a little extra on the
Well,
movie.
they Hollywoodized it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the parachuting kingpin. So I think they do talk about this in the movie. So in like the final months of 1985, a black bear stumbled upon the duffel bag of cocaine in its Chattanooga National Forest in northern Georgia. The stash had literally been dropped out of a sky via plane piloted by this guy, Andrew Thornton. He was a Southern man. Some people called him Drew. Friends called him that. Have you heard about this guy?
Yep. Yeah. I was reading about him earlier. I don't know
Okay.
much about his history, but I did know he was smuggling cocaine into the States.
Yeah, so he used to be a narcotics police officer in Tennessee in the early 70s. Eventually earned his law degree in 76. However, he wasn't long before he turned to the other side and he got into the smuggling ring. So he was like smuggling drugs.
Yeah. Money's better.
Yeah. So in 1981 in Fresno, California, Thornton was one of the more than 24 individuals indicted on 2 counts of conspiracy to import and distribute approximately 1,000 pounds of marijuana. And he pled not guilty. That's a lot. I don't know if that's a lot nowadays, but that is a lot back then. He went on the run. He was eventually arrested as a fugitive in North Carolina for his crimes. He was fined $500 and his law license revoked, served 6 months in prison, and he was put on probation for 5 years. So yeah, he was kind of a troublemaker, right? With his law license suspended, he couldn't fall back to that career. So instead, he reportedly resumed his criminal activities upon his release from prison. Despite all of his legal troubles, it was rumored that he was a millionaire. He was a member of the Tony Miami Jockey Club. I don't even know what that is. Have you heard of that?
No, I have no idea.
And he even owned several racehorses. Thanks to an early stint in the Army, Thornton was a parachutist and he had a pilot's license. Both skills he would use to smuggle his drugs. So he would fly the planes back and forth, and then I guess he would skydive out with the drugs on him and then deliver them. I guess that's what happened there. I don't know if I would do that every time, but have you skydived before?
I have not. My brother was a professional skydiver and he had a bad accident, and so that kind of turned me off to the whole idea.
well, this might turn you off too. Authorities later speculated that Thor flew a twin-engine plane loaded with drugs from the South America, placing it in the autopilot somewhere along the southern eastern U.S. so he can jump out with a parachute. The plane crashed in North Carolina mountains, and Thornton crashed in the backyard of a Knoxville home after falling at a rate of 60 to 80 miles per hour, that they said. So he jumped something went wrong,
Mhm.
and he just fell in someone's backyard because his parachute failed to open. And that's actually a real picture there, him on the left when they found him. He was dead with 77 pounds of cocaine strapped to his body, along with several guns and knives. Guess he was
Just ready for a
always,
fight.
yeah, always ready for a fight. Local investigators could not immediately locate the rest of the drugs on board Thornton's plane at the time of his death, including one bag loaded with 15 million worth of the powdery stuff. So this is where that bear comes in. Like I said, Pablo Escobar
Mhm.
found it. So yeah, I think they do show this in the movie. I think there are some people in the saying that in the chat. Like someone's put on probation for 5 years, immediately smuggles pounds of cocaine.
Pounds of cocaine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you don't pack your parachute while high on your own product. Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, can you imagine if you're like barbecuing and this dude just falls in your backyard?
I can't imagine that. I don't necessarily think it'll ever happen to me, but yeah, that'd be something. You're just in the backyard, just chilling. All of a sudden, a freaking dude with how many pounds of cocaine? 77 pounds of cocaine, weapons, knives, and guns just falls into your backyard. I mean, what do you do? I don't. I mean, do you keep it? Do you, like it's a nice gun. Maybe I'll just just throw that one away.
Well,
I always wanted one of those.
Yeah, I know, right? You probably take a little bit. They probably won't notice, right? According to Atlanta Constitution, the bear stood about 5 feet tall, was 3 to 4 years old. He probably stumbled upon the bag in the mountains where the rest of it landed a number of weeks prior to December 20th, 1985, when the local officials found its decomposing body next to a 40 ripped open packages of cocaine and torn duffel bags. So he just sniffed it. But bears, right? You camp. So like if you don't put your food out right, or you don't hang them up or something, they just
rip
do
into
stuff.
it. I wonder if this thing is going to say that when they found the bear dead. I'll let you keep going, but it's kind of funny what they found in its stomach. It was
it doesn't really mention that too much, but the scene suggested that he obviously ate all of it, but investigators were quick to cool that maybe not. This is kind of a theory. So they looked over 2 months since it was dropped here. When they found it, it was hard. It had all the cocaine dissolved with the snow and the mountain and all that. But the bear obviously didn't eat the 75 pounds of cocaine. But the autopsy said the bear ingested just 2 or 4 grams of. So have you heard something different?
Yeah, I heard something different. I heard that in the article that I read that when they cut open the bear to do the autopsy, that the sacks of the stomach was packed. It was like packed in there. So he had maybe he had swallowed one of the cases or something that it was in, one of the bricks or something like that. But they said the stomach was full. So I don't know which one's true. Maybe this one's right. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mystery. It's kind of embellished in a lot of places, right? So who knows? But the GBI never figured out what exactly happened to the rest of the stash. Agents suspected that someone found the rest of the cocaine, scooped it into a fresh container before running off. They had questions for an unidentified hunter who supposedly found the bear and circulated the story for weeks before the state Fish and Game employee tipped off the GBI. So maybe this guy took it all and said he ate it.
Yeah. The hunter was like, "Oh, that bear ate that whole thing."
Yeah. So if you want to visit the bear as a bear itself, it did not go on a killing spree, but it does live on the legend. According to local lore, the coroner who performed the autopsy had the bear taxidermied and donated to the Chakanui, I can't say that, a river national recreation area. Soon after the debacle, the stuffed bear then supposedly went missing, bounced between pawn shops and the home of Waylon Jennings before landing at the Kentucky for Kentucky Fun Mall in Lexington. So you can visit there, and they put hats on them.
When I was reading about this and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, the bear didn't do anything. It ate the cocaine and then died." And I was like, "Well, that's lame.
Dumb.
I'm like, and then Hollywood comes in. They're like, but what if it goes on a killing spree? But yeah, I see
Maybe.
Joker's voice in there. He must have seen it. He said the humor of the movie doesn't really land and the pacing is off. He's like, it's not funny enough to be a comedy, but it's not scary enough to be a horror movie. That's basically the consensus that I've seen. I watched Jeremy Johns' review of it, and he basically says the same thing. And I watched parts of it online, and I was like, yeah, it's about right. I mean, it's a fun kick. You're just looking for a goofy, kind of a goofy, fun popcorn movie to just not really care about. You'll forget about it in a weekend. Then go.
But they do this a lot, right? With stories, they kind of embellish things.
Anytime it's based on a true story, it's like, well, this one dude did this one thing one time, but then the rest of the movie is total horseshit.
So it says here, I heard he had a stomach full, but only a few grams had been actually digested, which all that was needed to give the bear a heart attack. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. This is funny. Hey, Boo Boo, how about another kilo? That's pretty funny.
Wanna go get that other brick?
I did see a comment up here. Yeah, DB. It was crazy. This guy fell with 34 pounds of cocaine in my driveway. Yeah. I guess you could say that if you had some. But I might wait until it comes to I don't know, one of the streaming services. I'll check it out. So
yeah, it's definitely like one of those Saturday night thrown on Netflix or something type movies.
Yeah. Okay. This is how you say it. Chattahoochee. Okay. I could do that.
Chattahoochee.
So yeah, I mean, again, not a long story. I feel bad for the dude parachuting. He felt like he was
you felt bad for the drug runner?
Yeah, he was on cloud 9 and just, his stuff didn't work. And
I feel bad for the bear. Bears are cool.
You feel bad for the bear?
I do. The poor bear. I mean, it didn't murder anybody. It's not like the movie's true. Like it just, found something and was like, oh, what's this?
At least he's stuffed over and wearing hats. I mean,
he must have been freaking jazzed for at least a few minutes, though. Just like, this is awesome,
Yeah, probably. He was probably like, because have you ever? I'm sure you have a dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever given your dog like beer, and they're like, "What is that?" And
I don't think I've ever tried giving my dog beer. I might have to try that.
Give him the light stuff. Don't give him
more
the
than
heavy
once.
stuff.
Yeah.
Give him the light stuff. Like start him.
Do a Michelob Ultra or something.
Yeah. Start him with that. Then you should be good.